I don't do any introductions or shit.
I was gonna ask you if you had some crazy Mexican songs.
No, I do. I do put. You ever watch X-Men, the animated series?
Yeah, of course.
Dude, they used to have that.
Yeah,
I found the fucking remix of that. It's like a synth electronic thing. And I put it on like the YouTube thing to see if it'll like flag it for copyright, and it doesn't flag it.
Perfect.
So I'm like, that's the shit that I use now to fucking intro it. But I just edited it later.
You know our Steo?
Yeah.
He had a podcast called El Coyote y La Mula.
Oh really?
And then, and he played that. I don't know the name of the song, but it's like the song. It's always at Mexican birthdays and barbecues. It's like the guy's talking. It's all fucking loud and
see, shit fucked up. Yeah, fuck out. He's still that guy, man. He's a fucking interesting dude.
Oh yeah, I don't talk to him anymore.
He's I don't see him around anymore either.
I think he does a couple spots here and there. I see him on a list sometimes, and then he doesn't show up. He's super got a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, see, this shit fucking crapped out. Not bad, bro.
No, dude, I'm not ready. I got fucking nothing to do. I don't think I'm gonna do comedy tonight.
You should go to fucking
Club
and get on the fucking bucket. Jay will put you on. He's hosting tonight.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, maybe.
Alright, now it says it's recording. Hopefully there's no fucking right error. We'll see. If not, this shit will pick us up, and I'll just fix the levels. But anyways, cheers, brother. Thanks for fucking coming on. It's Eric Jones. I think you're funny. That's why you're on, man.
Thanks, man. I think you're funny too. First time I saw you at fucking Jai Tai, I think. Me and my buddy, who's Mexican, we were both like, fuck yeah, this blonde guy. Yeah.
Dude, I fucking miss Jai. I miss the hang at Jai Tai.
Yeah.
Like that shit was cool, just shooting the shit outside with all the fucking
comics,
stupid ass comics outside.
That was the only spot like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I started in 2019 and there wasn't anything like that. So it was like, once I finally went to Jai Tai, and I was like, oh, this is the best part. That's when I would come home super late. My wife would be like, where the fuck were you? Dude. And they were like, dude, Jamal's on the fucking stairs being fucking high. It's like, it was the, who's who.
Coming up with new material and shit. That's another thing too that happens. I'll be out there and I'll be like, oh shit. And I'm like, I'll try to write it down. And like, it's funny too, because like, my fiance was telling me today, she's like, are you gonna go do comedy after the podcast? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go do club comedy. She's like, all right, don't dilly dally. That's what she always says. Don't dilly dally. Like, that's the whole fucking like.
That's it.
That's the hang, man. You want to fucking just shoot the shit with people and
that's
fucking.
Just as important. That's where you get booked on other spots.
I was talking to Rick. He was telling me about that yesterday. Shout out to Rick. He's been hooking it up recently with some spots. But yeah, he was saying, he's like, you don't have to hang out here. He's like, but you know, when you're here and you're hanging out with other comics, he's like, that's usually when I come out and talk to people, and that's when I usually like, oh, this guy's funny. Or
you get spots off it. You guys give me a spot off the sidewalk.
Hell yeah. No, fucking Rick's been hooking it up, man. Have you done a weekend spot there at club?
I've done a weekend spot fucking anywhere.
Dude,
I've done like weird, like I think I did a weekend thing at Spokane. It wasn't not like a whole weekend. I don't know. I definitely am not open for anybody yet.
I get on at Labs consistently. I'm there this weekend. Which is cool. But yeah, I don't even know, man. I feel like that shit's fucking. There is no like way to do it. It's definitely not like funny people getting on. Because some fucking people are. I'm like, how the fuck are you getting on?
Well, some of these spots, like, they have their people.
Yeah,
so
they do.
It's like you are competing, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it's like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I am a bald, pale, white guy. Like, I get it. That's like the most, I'm competing with bald, male, white guys. Like, so.
Dude, I just lost a spot because I had a spot somewhere, and they were like, hey, we're going to actually, you're only going to do one night because we're going to have a woman do the other night. We want to have some more representation. And I was like, sure, yeah, no problem. I appreciate the other night. But it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, first of all, they suck. And I'm just like, just fucking, give me the spot. Who gives a shit about representation, man?
That is one of the hardest parts about hanging out, is when you hang out and watch, and then everybody's eating dick, and you're like, I could be on. That's what it's hard about watching, like, even pros, like buying a ticket and watching their opener eat shit. And you're like, this guy's opening for a world famous person and just eating it.
One thing I've realized, and it's made me feel a little better, is that, like, when somebody does eat shit, to me it's not like everybody's like, you have material, right? And it's like, this material will work in an arena, but it might not work in a dive bar. So it's like, how do you now tailor that shit to a dive bar? And people can't make that adjustment, man. Because I feel like every time there's a shitty audience and there's nobody there, that's when I usually kill and I do better than everybody else. Because they were like, oh, you had a good set, man. The crowd sucked, though. And I was like, no, man. Like, I was able to somehow, like, engage these people. Yeah. And that's how you do that shit. Where it's like, people need a big room to, like, do well. And I'm like, ah.
Yeah, but if you're like, touring and opening with somebody huge, I feel like you don't have to make those excuses anymore. Like, you know what I mean? You got to figure it out.
No, that's
like,
true.
Bombing. But you also wonder, because, like, I guess that is a thing where, like, these big guys will take guys that kind of suck. So
I
you
did
don't have to follow somebody that's really good.
Yeah, that's what. Who was the comedian that told me that? Some headliner. Fuck, I forgot his name. Was it Michael Palisak? He was talking about how like he doesn't bring anybody because he doesn't want to pay for them. But he's like sometimes it's like if it's somebody you like, they're probably hilarious, so they're probably gonna fucking upstage you and shit, and they're probably gonna do funnier than you. He's like, well, if you get a local guy, the local guy's gonna eat shit.
Yeah.
He's like, and then you follow him, and it's like that big contrast of like, well, this guy's actually funny. So it's like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. But I mean, there's no rules to this shit, man.
I know there really isn't. Fuck that.
They like to get a little loaded. You don't have to. I know you got.
I can't. Yeah, good.
Allegedly, I like to get loaded.
Yeah, if I drink more than just like a little bit before doing comedy, I fucking forget my shit.
See,
I'll bail on multiple jokes, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I try to pride myself on like being the most fucked up to try to do comedy.
Are you mostly fucked up when you do it?
I'm not fucked up, but I'm like I don't limit myself, and I'm like, all right, if I'm getting drunk, I'm still gonna try to remember my set. I'm still gonna try to like. And sometimes it does backfire, and I eat shit because I'm like, and you're just like fucking can't remember or whatever. But I do appreciate or pride myself in the fact that like if you can make money in this shit, and it's like, bro, I get fucking fucked up at work every day, you know? Like I think that's fucking just awesome.
Yeah, that is fun. See, it depends on if like I could probably go do all my shit right now and not forget it drunk. Because it's all of it is fun, it's groove kind of.
Yeah.
But like if I'm doing new jokes, I will forget whole sections, I'll forget tags, I'll forget where I'm going with it, and so it's like it ends up not fun. I'll end up bailing on multiple jokes because I'm drunk.
I think for me it's still like I need to remember to do my new shit. I always default to like what I can remember because I'm nervous.
Yeah.
And then I just wind up doing old shit, and it's like, fuck, I had a bunch of new material that I wanted to try out, and I forgot because I got fucking nervous and I didn't do shit.
There's like I get shit for it all the time, but having a set list on stage, like. Especially at open mics, I don't give a fuck. But I don't give a fuck even on paid shows. But for one, if I don't know what I'm going to say on stage, like if I haven't locked it in my head or like written it down the set, I'm nervous all day because I'm still in my head about like which joke maybe I want to tell this one. And then so if I just write it in a list and then I'm like that's locked in, I'm doing that tonight, then I'm fine. And then on stage I don't forget and then I do it. So it's like I can force myself to do new jokes by forcing them onto the list, you know.
No.
But
I will say it does add to the confidence when you're memorized and on shit.
That's what I'm trying to do right now. This whole next year is.
You know what I do? I don't have my phone, but I do a screenshot of my notes. I do a set list on my notes app. I screenshot it and I put it as my background. So I'll throw my phone on the stool and then I'll just like glance over and just like poke it. I don't do the thing in my hand anymore. That's definitely like distracting. But I'll definitely that's what I do now. I set up the stool, I put either my notebook or whatever if I'm working on new shit, and then I'm just like glancing over, trying not to like you gotta do it kind of in stride. I've seen some people doing this shit.
That's crazy. I've never had anything in my hand.
Dude, I used to do that. I used to be like, oh, what's next? Oh, what did I write? Oh,
I the title of the joke, and I look over and fucking see where I'm at. Like, I don't think it's that. Anytime somebody's complained about it, it's like when I had a really good set. I'm like, gives a shit. I just had a fucking awesome set. So what? I had my fucking notes.
Because they always try to give you some sort of like, that was great, but
did you know?
Yeah. Nobody it's not very professional to wear shorts on stage. So, fuck you.
Yeah.
Who gives
I write my jokes on my legs though. That's how.
Fucking, I got a joke about tattoos right now, and somebody came up to me. That's another thing that's been happening is that people have been like, dude, do you have jokes that people steal and that you like? I don't think it's stealing. I think it's parallel thinking, and I think maybe they heard it at some point and they like, I don't know. But what's been happening now, I say it's stealing because I've had people come up to me and be like, hey, just so you know, I have a joke that's very similar to that, and then they tell me the joke. I'm like, that has nothing to fucking do with the hell that. With what I did, and I feel like now you're just trying to be like, don't say that joke because it's mine.
They're hoping you.
And I'm like, no, fuck you. Like that's totally not my fucking. So I have this joke about like, getting like fucking people with like very realistic tattoos, and I was like, one time this girl was giving me a hand job, and it was this like epic and true story. She had this epic ass fucking tattoo of her dead brother who has Down syndrome, dude. It's her, and it's like beautiful color. He had like a Batman shirt on, like it was incredible. She was literally giving me a hand job.
And you're crying.
And well, I looked over at the thing, and it was her like fucking dead brother who like I actually didn't meet a couple times. And then she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, and I was like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, that's the punchline. I was like, this is disrespectful to your brother. I feel like he's jerking me off. And she's like, oh, sorry. And I was like, yeah.
And that'd be a hate crime.
Exactly. Because he's definitely a minor too. So then some guy
He's a minor, just a little kid.
Yeah, he was a little kid, dude. And then like, so then some guy came up and was like, just so you know, I have a joke about that.
Like,
where like getting a hand job from somebody with a little hand. It's like, is that a pedophile? I'm like, first of all, that has nothing to do with what I said. And your joke sucked. And they're like, no, I think it's kind of the same. I'm like, I don't think so, man. But it's that thing of like, how do I fucking try to steal this? And it's been happening a lot. Not even with that joke, with just a bunch of different other jokes.
Premises, I feel like are fair game for the most part, unless it's like fucking really specific to that person's life. You know what I mean? As long as your punchline is fucking original, like if you take it in an original way, then it's like fuck off. Like,
Yeah, no, I agree.
You don't get to own all hand jobs.
Yeah,
jokes.
exactly.
Yeah.
No. Same with like when people have like, oh, that's an observation I made. I'm like, yeah, we all have the same observations, but now like which punchline is more unique?
Yeah, I've had weird ones. I was with an ex-girlfriend. We were like holding hands, like walking through a park, and we heard all this commotion. We like came across a giant gang of ducks raping the shit out of this other duck, like violently.
With corkscrew penises?
Yeah, but that's how ducks fuck. Is like multiple would pin one down and then they just like it's so violent that my ex-girlfriend was like yelling at me to like do something, and so I was like kicking ducks off this other duck, and it was like not helping. And
yeah, man, you're fucking up nature.
But I ended up going home and going down like a duck rabbit hole where I ended up learning about their corkscrew dicks and their fallopian tubes are crazy because they're trying not to get inseminated through duck rape, and so the corkscrew dicks are like lock picking the duck pussy, and it's like this whole crazy evolution. And so I wrote this whole long joke, and I was like, I hadn't even told it yet. It was just like I was just kind of prepping it, and then like one of the best comics like from here did a whole fucking duck rape. Both of us just happened to come across a gang duck rape, and it's like now that I think about it, I'm like, if that's how they fuck, like there's got to be lots of versions of duck rape jokes, right? I thought it was being so original, but it was just parallel.
Yeah, man, it's that parallel thinking sometimes. Which again, if it's a different punchline, it's fine. But yeah, sometimes you're like, fuck. I used to have a joke that they for sure didn't steal because they didn't see me tell it. I only told it like once or twice about turning on my blinker. I was like, my dad used to be so paranoid and with my mom cheating on him that he would be like, why the fuck are you turning on your blinker? Who the fuck are you telling where you're going? And literally I told that joke at one open mic, and on my way to the next open mic, somebody got on before me, and they weren't even at the last open mic, so they didn't see me tell it. Told a very similar joke of like, I don't like to turn on my blinker because I always like to keep people on their toes. You don't know where I'm going. And it's like the same exact joke, and I'm like,
I think yours is original enough because it's based on cheating and it's
which my dad was a very jealous man, and like it was a thing of like, why are you like over the dumbest shit, like why are you fucking wearing makeup today, huh?
A little too close to home if it's you and another person in the same community where you got it. Yeah, I get ones where it's like I got messaged by comics and told in person because I've had a joke that I've been telling like for 3 years about my son walking into the bathroom with his dick out, and then he pees with me, and it's this whole thing. He mentions how big my dick is. Dude, have you watched the last Tom Segura special?
Yeah.
He has that same fucking joke where he's showering with his son, and his son talks about how big his dick is and how his is small, and then he takes it to a fucking dirty place where he like jacks off his son or whatever. But it's like so close, and it's like there's 2 sections of it that are literally word for word the same, where it's like I just have to. There's no way I can change mine, and he's famous, so it's like I just have to. It's just trash now.
For me, it's still like I at least think it's validating, right? Like if you didn't like overtly steal it and you like thought of it on your own, it's
3
like,
years ago.
Where it's that thing of like, holy shit, like I know I'm on the right path.
Yeah, I'm writing.
I'm writing shit that I know. I just gotta be quicker with it, which is why podcast helps, man. Because you say something on here that either then you can be like, no, I have this thing that I said.
Sure, and it's not even like a theft thing because he definitely didn't steal it.
Yeah, sure, he didn't see it.
So it's mostly just like he's famous, he burned it. And so it's burnt for me too, unless I was to change, because 2 seconds of it word for word.
Have you ever heard the Ralphie May one about the penis thing with his son?
No.
Where they go to a gay wedding? It's pretty different, but it's essentially about a kid noticing an adult penis, a little boy, and he's like, he says he goes to like a gay wedding that's like super like flamboyant. And
takes his kid to it?
Yeah, he takes his kid to it. It's like one of their best friends is getting married, he's the gay guy, and they have like these like the like groomsmen or bridesmaid, whatever you want to call them, they're like roller skating or rollerblading down the aisle in like a thong, or like one of them was naked or something, and then his dick pops out, and he's like this is like super like big gay black guy, and he's like, daddy, look at his penis came out. He's like, no son, you and I have penises. That right there is a big old dick. But it's that same shit of like when a little kid sees a bigger dick. It's like,
well, and I joke and I'm like, he's 5, he's 3, he's not 13, you know, it's like word for word, he does the same thing. So it's like whatever. It's annoying because it was like a 2-minute joke, so now I'm like, it's a 2-minute joke I close with a lot, so I was like, fuck, I'm like, now you build these jokes and you're building them like 1 minute at a time, and then you eliminate 2 minutes, like fuck.
Nah, man, I feel like you have to either change it, but at least you know like you're capable of writing new shit, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't scare me.
Yeah, so you'll be all right. Same way, I think about that all the time. Where I'm like, fuck, somebody has that joke. I can think of other shit. Yeah, somebody steals a joke.
It should inspire you to write something else more original. I guess.
Where do you write the most?
In conversation.
In conversation with people?
Almost exclusively in conversation.
Same, I'd probably say, or sometimes when I'm thinking of a set that I just did and I'm like driving to another mic, I'll think of something on it. But yeah.
It can be something stupid. Like sometimes it'll just hit you. Like if it's something goofy that I saw in the news and I'm like, it's something serious, but I'm laughing about it. And I'm like, this is pretty funny. I don't know why I find it so funny. And then I'll work my way into telling people at work about it and seeing if they think it's funny. But usually it's like me just trying to make people laugh like a fucking clown. And then I make somebody laugh with something stupid, a punchline somehow, and then I just change the whole thing to get to that punchline, but it's all a whole new setup or whatever.
I run a lot of shit about my girlfriend. I'm like, what do you think of this? She's like, I don't get it.
You get approval?
But she never likes any of them. But usually if she doesn't like them, I know, all right, I'm on to something. Yeah. But if she does like it, I'm like, fuck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know, I just feel like...
taste.
Yeah, because she likes the very simple, like, you know, like very cut and dry jokes of like, you know, why did the potato, whatever, eat himself or some stupid shit, right? Like stuff like that, where like sometimes I'll think of a joke that's very specific and it's like a whole conversation. Yeah. And she's like, you lost me like halfway through.
Telling a joke 101 is impossible.
Dude, it's super hard.
If I have a funny friend and I want to get his opinion on it, I'll usually just introduce the premise and like see if they start rolling with it. Then if we start riffing on it, and then I'm like, dude, if this premise just gets people to start riffing, then there's something in the premise for sure. Yeah. But I usually won't do a bit because it never works. You know?
I always lie. I always set it up as something like, oh, this happened today, and then like, I'll say my joke as a thing that happened.
Get the wildest laugh ever.
And they were like, well, that's funny, and I'm like, it is, right? Because that's a joke.
You have a girlfriend, but some other girl jerks you up with a retarded brother on her arm.
Yeah, I have and then there's also things that I change about like real life. Like there was this kid named I always lie about him. His name is Jimmy. True story. He got his face ripped off by a pit bull, like half of his fucking. Face, so he had to have his ass cheeks.
It's already funny.
Yeah, grafted to his face, and I thought it was hilarious that in itself. Yeah. But I added even more to it, and I was like, everybody grew up calling him ass face, which is not true. And somebody recently hit me up on Instagram now, and they're like, hey, I saw that ass face thing. Did they really call him ass face? And I just didn't respond. I'm like, all right.
Like somebody that knows him.
Somebody that knows him.
Oh fuck.
But the thing was, like, this guy was an asshole. So I don't give a fuck about him. Like, fuck that guy.
He's pestering. Who's gonna rock that dog? That fucking guy was calling him.
Dude, I know. I always feel like I'm conflicted about dogs, man. Especially like pit bulls in Seattle.
Fuck them.
Right?
I got kids now.
Dude, yeah, you got kids. Dude, they'll fucking
risk.
eat a toddler, man. And like, I fucking ran from so many pit bulls in my life that I just cannot get myself to be like, oh, she's so sweet.
It's not even that. I just know too many scumbags who get pit bulls because they're scumbags and because the pit bulls the potential why they got it, because it's like a tough guy shit. It's where I'm like, I don't. I've seen too many fucking crazy pit bulls. I
feel like in Seattle, I feel like now it's a lot more nice people that have them. I just don't trust that dog had fucking went through the right channels to get like, you mean to tell me that dog's been rehabilitated? Bullshit. Yeah. Like, rehabilitation doesn't work. Yeah. You know, I was going to snap at any minute.
Adopt a pit bull.
Yeah, exactly. You just hope he doesn't eat your fucking kid.
Just adopting a gun that might be
exactly.
You don't know.
Exactly. Just don't play with it too much because then it might fucking shoot you in the face.
So your girl does she think you're funny? Did you make her laugh?
I make her laugh all the fucking time. Okay. But we usually laugh like when I'm in bed, just being like silly, dumb shit, just like saying the dumbest shit. Like yesterday, I was like in the mirror and I was like without my shirt, and I was like, God damn, like what happened here? And like she was, and I always just like be super self-deprecating, and she was just laughing, and I was like, no, seriously, like look at this shit, it looks awful. I was like, but from this angle, it's not that bad.
When I'm on my back,
you're fucking on my back, exactly. If I only turn around from this angle. So she like that. That's what she usually laughs at.
That's funny. See, girls, ex-girlfriends and shit. I always got in with them by being funny, by making them laugh, and then it would turn to something romantic. Yep. But my wife is my sister's best friend, and so I didn't even realize that she didn't find me funny until I like started doing comedy, and then I try any joke. I'd be cry laughing to myself because I just thought of it, and she'd just look at me like I was a moron, and I'd be like, I can't trust you. Like this is funny. I don't care. And so I tried on friends, but like I've never had her. I can't use her as a barometer whatsoever.
She sees right through you. Man.
Yeah, it's just because she's annoyed by it because of her husband, so she's mostly annoyed by other shit. So it's like hard for her to laugh in the moment.
Yeah, it's very like I've had enough of this.
If we're having a good time, like if we're doing good for a couple weeks and we're having a good time, I can get her to laugh. But not when I forgot to do the dishes last night or whatever,
Oh, yeah. See, and like shit like that too, where I'll try to like be funny about that. I'll be like, sorry, I didn't do the dishes. Yeah. And she
don't comedy back.
Yeah. She'll get super annoyed, and it's like, no, that's not funny. No, I honestly I can't make her laugh intentionally. I'm always just like either just being like self-deprecating or saying shit. and then she finds funny, but never because I'm like, here, I'm gonna try to make you laugh.
Yeah. Just conversationally.
Just conversationally. I will say, yeah, honestly, comedy. That's one of the reasons I got into comedy, or one of the reasons I thought was funny because I would get women who I was way out of my league, and it's like, well, yeah,
sure.
and it was just, they thought I was funny. You know, like the pretty boy was an idiot.
Well, dude, if you like every woman, if you ask what traits she wants in a guy, it's always like, 6 foot, hot, 6-pack, funny. Like that's one of them.
I feel like they say or funny.
That's one of them.
Yeah, I feel like if you had all of that,
funny.
it doesn't happen though. You can't be handsome and funny. It doesn't work that way. It just, I'm sorry, but the more handsome you are, the more you're gonna be not funny. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I used to go out with my cousins, and they're all like buff construction worker, hot dudes, and so you're pretty much. It was like once I'd start clowning, and whatever girl was just dying in my shit, and I was like, all right, that's my focus. That's my focus. Hope my cousin doesn't bang her.
Dude, I went to John Garner.
Yeah, of course.
So John, shout out John Garner. John Garner's he's a friend of my friend's boyfriend. So they like went to school together. They're really close friends. And my friend who's dating John Garner's friend, she invited me to this like bar one time after a show, which I think John Garner was also at the show. So I saw him, but like we didn't really talk yet. I didn't really know him that well. And like she invited me, and I thought she was trying to set me up with her other friend that she invited, who was this like smoking hot, like fucking doctor. She was so hot, and I was telling her about I was a comedian. We're like hitting it off really well, and like I was making her laugh. She thought it was funny. Then John Garner shows up, and then he was like, "I'm also a comedian," and I'm like, "You son of a bitch," because this guy's like handsome as fuck. He's like tall, and he's like got it all going, and he was funny. And then she was like, "All right, bye." And literally, when we were leaving at the end of the night, we were like saying our goodbyes. She had asked me for a ride originally. And I was like, "Hey, you still need that ride?" And she was like, "No, I'm gonna. I got a ride now."
Brutal.
And I was like, "Fuck you,
John
Garner." Now, I love John Garner.
Yeah, I like him too.
He's a funny dude.
He's got crazy stories too. He's got crazy jail stories and shit.
Really, he's been in prison, John Garner?
In jail, yeah.
Dope. I didn't know that shit.
Yeah, he started telling the jokes on stage, and they're pretty fucking wild.
Dude, fucking John. I feel like he would strike me as somebody who went to prison.
Yeah.
He does. Now he does like financial advice or whatever. He
looks like that.
Yeah, he does. I think he watches like people who can't do their own finances or something like that. Like one of his clients, like a guy with like cerebral palsy or something, who inherited a bunch of money. And he's just there to be like, all right, maybe don't put your money in that, or we'll put it here or something, you know. Yeah. Which honestly, I feel like that's why he went to prison. He was probably been like, just sign all
like
your money to me.
Bipolar episode.
Yeah, he did talk about being bipolar. That's another thing too. I feel like mental illness is rampant in the fucking comedy scene.
Oh my god, dude.
It's fucking rampant, man.
Yeah, and it's really like it's hard to tell because like you're just gravitating towards the other guys that are funny on the sidewalk, you know. And then all of a sudden, one starts sending you crazy messages, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. That's how I feel about like some of them are so delusional, and I feel like the worse they are at comedy, that they're more delusional. Those are the ones that are like, oh, you have a mental illness. Or the guys who like laugh too hard. You ever see those guys? Where I'm like, why are you laughing so hard? Like that shit was not that funny. And it's this thing of like, I want to please you. I want to like, and they like just laugh. And I'm like, bro, that shit is like, stop it. Like this is so off-putting. You're in the middle of a fuck like. You're laughing so fucking loud. People are like, their ears are hurting.
You don't need to laugh at my shit at all if you're a comic.
Yeah, saying I don't give a fuck.
I would never fake laugh for somebody else, but I
do. Not for you. Like like I wouldn't do it to you to be like that was good. I'll laugh at your shit if it's funny, but if it's somebody that I don't really know, I'll just do it to be polite. And I'll be like like a nervous laugh.
Oh, I can't do it.
I won't compliment you though.
If I like a part of the joke, because here's the thing: like we watch so much comedy now that like some of it you hear the joke and you're like, oh, that's funny. Yeah. But you don't laugh.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
So it's like if I do think something's really clever or funny, that's my way of telling you that I thought it was funny. It's like coming up to me like, oh, I like that one part or whatever. Like, to be like, haha. I don't know.
I laughed actually kind of hard this weekend at Jeremy McDonald.
Yeah.
Because he was stuttering and like he was actually really struggling to get the word out this time, and I was being an asshole, and I just thought it was so funny that he could not get the word out, and like there was this guy who kept like cutting him off in the audience, and then that kept like
finishing his sentence.
Yeah, like he kept finishing, and then like he got more, and I was just laughing at that like moment. Yeah. And my girlfriend was like, "Why are you laughing? That's fucked up." I'm like, it's just so funny to me that like it's become this thing where he like this guy is just like
he's his enemy in the fucking crowd.
And I felt really bad, but Jeremy doesn't care. He's a cool
Jeremy is so fucking does not give a fuck.
No, he doesn't give a fuck. He's having a baby soon.
Yeah, I heard. He's to fucking box and shit too.
Yeah.
Like
he was showing.
He's not gonna fucking be a bitch because somebody laughed at something.
He's definitely secure in himself.
Yes, 100%.
And his comedy
100%.
and like
he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Me and him getting like Facebook Messenger riffing battle. He was on like vacation, laying on a beach, and we were just like riffing out the stupidest funny shit. Like
him. I usually hang out with him after like the show. I'll be outside shooting shit with him.
Yeah.
He's somebody I can riff with. Jamal Banyan's another dude I can riff with.
Yeah, crazy.
Jay Markovitz I can fucking riff with.
You're literally talking about all of the best riffers.
I can riff. Jay too. Jay the other day he like posted a picture of Club Comedy. And I was like, oh, can you sign me up? He's like, oh, I'm not working the list tonight. I'm like, oh, you're just a fucking company man, just fucking promoting your show. And then he was like, yeah, I'm about to suck everybody's dick and give me some stage time. And it was just like this back and forth online of like, I appreciate those guys.
Yeah, no, if you can riff, that's the best part. That's the funnest.
Trying to think of another guy I can riff with. You know who's another guy I can riff with? Who I've only ever hung out with him one time. He was fucking hilarious. I fucking forgot his name. I feel bad. Chris Moran. Fat dude with the beard.
Yeah, of course.
That guy's fucking hilarious.
I was doing it a long time.
Yeah, and like, we talk about baseball and like sports and shit. When not so many comedians usually do sports.
Yeah.
So it's fun to fucking. I've been trying to get him on the podcast, and he was gonna get me on his, but this shit fell through.
I like him. He's like one of those guys that's been doing it for a long time, but isn't like, he's not. He's like fine telling you that a joke was funny, or like you know what I mean. Like some of the guys that have been doing it for a long time are like won't give you an inch, like as far as like telling you if they think you're good.
Yeah, I haven't been doing it very long, but if you have a good set, I won't tell you. Like I'm a hater.
You know.
Yeah, like I'm a hater. I'll be like, I'll just fucking ignore you. If I don't fist bump you, it's because you killed.
Yeah.
If I fist bump you, it's because like you probably ate shit. Or if I say like, hey man, now like if you had a good set, I'll be like, I'll ignore you. But if you don't have a good set, I'll be like, hey man, good shit tonight. Or I like that one thing.
If they're always good, it's like they know they had a good set.
No, for
sure.
You
know in the moment that you're smashing. So it's like.
That's one of the best or most important skills you need in comedy is that like a self-awareness of like when I murdered, when I didn't, when it was mediocre, when
I'll give good sets, especially if it's like newer guys that are finally having a good set. That's like when they need it. When you're like, no, that time you were fucking funny. Like
I told that to somebody recently where I was like, you used to have this joke or you used to tell this joke every single time, and I never liked it until now because he changed it completely. Actually, I'm gonna say Gunnar Nelson. I literally told him on Saturday.
He had Gunners?
No, I'm thinking of Gunnar Israel. Gunnar Nelson's a UFC fighter.
Okay, I got two Gunners.
Gunnar Israel. Shout out Gunnar. But he used to have this joke about being a jungle Asian. I'm not sure if you heard it. Which I never used to find funny.
The tropical rainforest Asian.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm more of a tropical rainforest Asian. And he changed it recently to, what the fuck did he change it to? I don't want to give away his punchlines because I can't remember it anyway. But that shit was so fucking funny. And I actually went up to him and I was like, bro, I finally laughed at your like jungle Asian joke. Like now that shit was funny. He's like, thanks, man. I actually switched it.
He's low key like such a crazy writer. Like when I first met him, it was like when Flying Boots was still a thing. I don't know if you ever did Flying Boots back in the day. It was just this weird bar, but it was like one of the only spots that would give you 5 minutes. So like everybody, like this
5 minutes is fucking crucial.
This group of people every week, you know. And he started showing up, and he's just got folders. You should see how many jokes this guy writes. It's fucking insane. Whole folder just fucking full of jokes, and every week he would tell different jokes for a year. I never heard him tell like the same joke twice, and like he'd have multiple people telling him to like stop telling me jokes for a little bit, dude. Keep hammer out these jokes that are working. Like he writes like crazy.
No, he's a good writer too. I feel like his shit is funny. He used to do a lot of crowd work, and I feel like once he stopped doing the crowd work and started doing more of his jokes, and started like another thing too, like he has a very like he found his voice too. That's another hard shit to do in comedy. Where I feel like he's done it really well. Of like this dark, he's very dark, but in this very like kind of like conniving way. Where it's like, I even told him he has this like crazy laugh that he does in between his dark jokes. I'm like, I'm not sure if you're doing that shit on purpose, man, but it sounds maniacal as fuck, and it like adds to his fucking joke. Yeah. But yeah, no, shout out Gunnar. He's hilarious.
I like it when comics take the joke writing part super serious. Like he's a joke nerd for sure. Yeah. So it's like. He tells them the same way every time. It's very like he's carving a set, and I don't know. I find that it's cool when you can just like fucking wing it and shit all the time. You know what I mean? But that seems crazy.
I usually don't like the wingers. I don't like like you can wing it. You can riff on some shit. But it still I feel like has to be a joke. You can't just be like, look at this guy. But anyway, some of the people that I like see doing these like improv mics. Like I hate those shits. I hate to fucking like here's a slide in the background, talk about it.
I've been asked to do it.
I don't like those shits.
No.
I don't. You don't write anything from those. I don't care if anybody says no. You come up with new. Like no, you do not.
Yeah.
I hate those fucking things.
Yeah, if it's not going to potentially benefit me when someday I do have an hour, then it feels like a waste of time to me. But I'm just like, I just want to do cool comedy.
Are you that way you're working out is an hour?
I mean, yeah, someday. But it's like the problem is, it's like I'm super anal about making sure like my 10 and 15 and 20 are fucking rock solid. So it's like anytime I write a new joke that starts doing awesome, I end up just stop telling. I just ditch like whatever my worst joke is. So I end up just hovering at about 20 minutes. And then if I really go through and just compile them all, if I have a long set, I can do a longer set. But it's like 20 of it is going to be shit I really love and I'm having a blast with. And then the last 10, is me like doing shit I'm not even fucking in love with anymore. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's hard too, right? Like, what do you tell? When do you tell it? Who do you tell it to? Because that shit can get in your head too, and then you're like, yeah, you have this amazing joke that you stop saying because you have new shit now, or a joke that maybe wasn't as funny the very first time you said it and you let it go, but like there was actually something very fucking hilarious in there, and like now you'll never know.
Well, and a long set is like a different monster than these short ones. Like if you're just getting a bunch of 15 and 20 minute spots, you want as many laughs per minute as possible in that. So you're jamming like all your best shit together, and then somebody gives you like 30 or 40 minutes, and now you're like trying to spread out your funny bits, and you're jamming like the lesser funny ones in the middle, and it's like
I try to do like more off the cuff stuff. Like if I don't have 20 minutes and I only have like 15 minutes of funny shit or whatever that I think is funny, I'm gonna do 5 minutes of like, what's up everybody, and like how hey what's up, well, you like this or whatever, and I'm like, all right, that's 5 minutes, now I can start my set. But sometimes you fucking lose them.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't write any of my jokes down, like none of them. I don't have any of them written out.
That Lil Wayne status, huh?
Yeah, I do. And what's funny, that keeps popping up on my Instagram.
The Lil Wayne thing?
Yeah, all these Lil Wayne interviews about how he never writes, and Jay-Z never fucking writes it. Yeah, it's the same. I don't, if I write them down and I change them so many times that the written one ends up being irrelevant. So I have all these folders, like when I first started, where the joke is fucking, it's not recognizable to what I told on stage, so I stopped doing that. I literally just make sure I keep lists of the titles of the jokes, so at least
I feel like usually a title or a set list usually becomes the more concise joke anyway.
But I have just flat out forgotten jokes that I remember being good, and I'm like, fuck, I have no idea.
I just
old notebooks.
I just remembered one of the earliest jokes I used to tell was about hot dogs, and I for some reason the other day found one of my notebooks and I read it out loud and they liked it, and I was like, you guys like that? I wrote that shit like fucking 20 years ago or whatever. And it's like, people always argue, is a hot dog a hot sandwich? And I'm like, I think it's a hot sandwich, just a sandwich, it's a hot sandwich. I'd fuck it, it's so hot. And it's like a dumb joke, but like it's a joke that like I said it like literally like 20 years ago, and I stopped fucking talking about it. And recently I like saw it in a notebook, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna see if that works on stage.
I've never heard anybody call it a sandwich before, so it's like
because the people, I've heard a lot of people call it a sandwich, but it's this thing of like I think it's a sandwich, just a hot sandwich. Because I would fuck it, it's so hot.
Yeah, if you replaced it with meatballs,
there you go.
All of a sudden it's a motherfucking sandwich again. Like,
exactly.
It looks like a dick, so it's something else.
Yeah. I always think about like some of the jokes. So I've wanted to do comedy since I was like in middle school. So I have jokes since middle school, but I didn't start doing comedy until like 5 years ago. And even then, like you take a break or whatever, and like. I started like fucking finding some of those old ass jokes. I have some I wrote down in my yearbook. I used to have my old middle school yearbook that has a bunch of jokes I wrote in there. Like one of my earliest jokes is about sodomy. I was like, why did sodomy be in 7th grade, dude? And it was because like and it was because like the premise is like, why is sodomy illegal? Yeah. And I was like, it's illegal in a lot of places. And that joke came back to me because of COVID. And in COVID, how like everything was shutting down, like all the fucking resources were being exhausted, and like there was no more hospital beds. And I was like, that's probably why they made sodomy illegal, because in like ancient times in like Mesopotamia or whatever, Sodom and Gomorrah, there were like all their emergency rooms were slammed with dudes' assholes just fucking bleeding. And they're like, that's it. There's no more hospital beds. This shit's illegal.
If I have to sew up another asshole.
Exactly. So I was like, COVID brought that shit back.
But it's funny going through like old notebooks too, because like. You'll come, especially if like you can do a little challenge with other comics where you read each other like old shit, or just notes or jokes that you've written in your notebook that are dumb that you've never gone with. Yeah. So I know like fucking Quinn, Shout out to Quinn Fitzgerald.
Yeah, shout out to Quinn.
He was just riffing shit from his notebook on a car ride with like Reese and other people, and came across that mattress ranch joke.
Dude, I told him the other day, that's a fucking hilarious joke.
Dude,
I love that.
It was a throwaway, and he read it in the car.
See what I'm saying? I'm gonna bust out my notebook. See, I got some right here. You wanna read some shitty jokes with me?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have any. Yeah, you can read whatever. Read the last thing I wrote here. Oh no, wait, this one actually has some. This one has some Spanish shit.
Dude, I was gonna ask you. I was thinking a minute ago. So early on, I remember you'd come in and just go hard on the Spanish.
Remember when I used to do that shit?
And it'd be funny. You would get big laughs with the Spanish.
Dude, at Jai Thai, I would bring the cooks out. I remember I would literally go up to the back and I would talk to them and I was like,
at the Thai restaurant, you bring out the Mexican
cooks?
cooks?
At the Thai restaurant, I would talk to them and I was like, hey, in Spanish. I'd be like, you want to do some comedy? She's like, no, they say it in English. And that's why I started doing it in Spanish. And I was like, no, I'll do some stand-up in Spanish. She's like, really? And I think they were like being nice to me and they like went along with it, like they liked it. But they would at least come watch.
Yeah.
I saw Nano. Remember Nano? He used to work the bar at Jai Thai. Okay. He always had the fucking hottest chicks, dude. That would come.
Yeah. He always had hot young looking girls.
I used to have a motorcycle helmet I gave him. So now he always remember me. And he's over at he was at Club Comedy the other day. No, Comedy Bar. And he came to say what's up. And he had fucking another fucking. I don't think my fiance watches this, but some hot ass chick, dude, with him. And I was like, "What's up, brother? How you been?" He's like, "Good."
Yeah.
But he was another one that I would always be like, I wish I knew how to fucking speak. I think he's Armenian or some shit.
That's one of the things I liked about you originally, because like there's not a lot of Latino representation in Seattle comedy at all. So like when you see it, you're like, and it's actually funny. You're like, fuck yeah, like.
Dude, that shit came about because of those cooks, and I got my first like kind of, and it wasn't a big thing that I got booked for, was for this guy named Carlos Vallarta. It was at the Hereafter when the Hereafter literally just opened.
Yeah.
And this dude is like, he got like millions of followers on like YouTube and fucking Instagram and TikTok. He's a Mexican dude from like Mexico City. And he has like Netflix specials. He has like a Comedy Central special. Carlos Vallarta, but it's all Spanish. So when he came to Seattle, they needed an all Spanish opener. And somebody hit me up. Noah, fucking shout out to Noah, fucking Dino Dad. Somebody asked me if he knew anybody who did comedy in Spanish. And Noah recommended me, and I got that shit. They gave me $300 for that.
How do you like it? I mean, like, are you comfortable doing it in Spanish?
I'm not comfortable. That shit was hard.
Yeah,
you know, I feel like I can figure it out.
Different, right?
It just hits different. I don't know, like, I don't have enough practice of the like the cadence of the culture and timing in Spanish. I mean, I can figure, like, it was good. I give myself honestly like a B minus. And I think if I were to like just kind of go to a Spanish speaking place for a little bit and just talk to Spanish speaking people, I can figure it out. Yeah. But right now it's like, you know, I don't know too many people in Seattle that speak Spanish that like I couldn't, like, a lot of shit doesn't translate. I try to translate a lot of my jokes. Some of them translated, but most of them
not
didn't.
in a funny way always.
Yeah, not in a fun way. Especially like my earlier jokes were all puns, and you can't do any puns. Yeah, like all the puns are gone. Yeah, it's all wordplay shit. But there's some shit. I would love.
I imagine you can make so much more money if you can do
Dude, both. Have you ever seen Felipe Esparza? He does. His last special was in Spanish and in English. Yeah. So he does, but it's literally like word for word, minute per minute. The same exact. It hits this. It doesn't hit as much in Spanish. It's not as funny in Spanish. But it's at least the same exact fucking shit, and you're like, holy shit, man! Like,
that's girl does that.
Yeah, it's a girl's another one. His Spanish, same thing. Where it's like his Spanish is actually better than Felipe Esparza's, I would say.
Yeah, really. Yeah, he's pretty fucking fluent. You wouldn't think it.
Felipe Esparza is just uneducated. That's what that is. He's like me, where he just fucking. He went to school. Like I grew up speaking Spanish first. That was my first language. But then you go to school in the U.S., so everybody's speaking English, and my mom refused to let them put me in ESL classes. Which actually made me develop a stutter. I used to have a stutter growing up. ESL is English, Spanish, learning, whatever. So it's like a transitional class. My mom was like, no, fuck that. That's gonna set you behind. It's gonna like, and like it doesn't at all. They actually like help you more. But her stigma was like, somehow you're gonna get like left behind because you're not. Yeah, exactly. Or she thought that they were just not gonna look out for people who spoke Spanish as much. I was like, who gives a shit? Yeah. So she put me in English. So I was in all English classes, and it was fucking hard, man. I struggled. I was an idiot all growing up. Until like high school, I got good grades, but literally in elementary and middle school, I could not figure that shit out for the life of me. And I developed a stutter because I got so self-conscious about the way I would speak that I would just like take a long time to say the word, and I couldn't remember it in English or in Spanish. I'd be like, wait, and I would literally get stuck, and then after a while, it wasn't until I started performing that I feel like my stutter kind of went away.
It's gotta be hard. It's gotta be crazy to do both, because I was reading this thing where like it was some sort of study that like that you have a different personality depending on the language you're speaking. So like when you're speaking Spanish, you could be a sillier person. Or,
no, that's true, man.
And then when you speak in English, you're like it's like literally compartmentalized personalities that you're using for each language.
It's so true because again, I think in Spanish, I'm less confident in Spanish. Whereas in English, I'm a little bit more confident, so there's a little bit more energy, a little bit more bravado, a little bit more whatever. Yeah, I'm more meek in Spanish. Also, Spanish people are just tougher.
For sure.
I'm always just kind of like around Spanish people. That's why I love Seattle when I moved here.
But silly. I felt like, because I grew up in Arizona and like Southern California as a kid, and all of my friends were Mexican, and they were all really silly. And my dad's best friend was Mexican. All his kids were really silly. I always would end up becoming the best friends with the silly Mexican kid in class for the most part. Even as an adult, my best friend is a silly Mexican guy. Like that's just like.
Dude, that was my dad. The funniest dude I know is my fucking dad, and he's just a silly ass Mexican. Yeah. But like he would do really
built into the culture. Even with hard ass Mexicans, they're still fucking funny.
And the most hilarious things that he would do are the things that were the thing that like you're supposed to be a hard ass Mexican, but he was just being like a very like flamboyant gay guy, and I'm like, what are you doing right now? No, but my dad's literally the most fucking hilarious guy I've ever met in my whole life.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch. I used to do a lot of jokes about my dad, or like that's a good way to kind of like dismiss some shit. I used to do a gender neutral bathroom joke. I don't do it anymore. Where it's like, oh, can you believe it? The gender neutral, and like you can brush it off as your dad saying it.
Oh yeah, easily.
And like there's so much shit like that I can do with my dad, and they're like, oh, it's okay if your Mexican dad says that, but if you said that, you son of a bitch,
Yeah, no, you can do that with because everybody has like a Fox News dad or something. Exactly. So it's like it's relatable to like if you're gonna do an edgy thing. I tell people this all the time, especially with guys that like will go up and tell a rape joke and then get canceled everywhere. I'm like, why did you make yourself the rapist in your joke?
Yeah,
like
switch it up, man.
Make it your dad, but make it somebody else. Don't make yourself the villain in your edgy joke. Like
I used to do a lot of shit at maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but fuck it, they won't watch it. At the Rendezvous, Rendezvous would always put me on, and people would be like, "I've seen your stuff. Like, how do you get on at Rendezvous?" I'm like, "Cause I don't tell it the same way at the Rendezvous.
Yeah, sure.
I'll like say it as my dad, or I'll say it as like this thing of like, can you believe this? And then I'll say it as that. I remember that gender neutral bathroom joke started off as like, they just fucking started arresting whatever people in Mississippi because of their trans. And I was like, obviously they have their priorities straight, and then I would get into the gender neutral bathroom joke. And like they were on board because I was like with them of like, can you believe this?
You're not the villain.
Yeah, and then I would
with them.
and I would say the villainous thing later. Yeah, exactly.
Here,
yeah. And it's this thing like people don't figure that out. People don't understand that.
That's like it should be simple. That's what you should be wanting everybody to laugh and like you. You know what I mean? Very few people like can do like a Jeselnik where he's playing the villain on purpose.
That guy, it's just that shit's hard. Yeah, I cannot do.
But it's like everybody can't do that. That's like his thing. You know what I mean? So like it works for him.
If I know you don't like me, I die on the inside. I'm like, fuck. How do? And then I always double down too, where it's like, if I know you don't like me, it's like, now how do I get you to love me? And it's even worse where you're just being this like fucking like, hey, check this out. Hey, look at me over here, and you're like, bro, you're trying way too hard right now.
Yeah, I mean, at least with, I mean, I'm sure I'm like that socially, but like it's with comedy, I don't care just because I started it so late in life that like I've got a wife and kids and a house and all this shit, and it's like. I didn't start it to make friends or hook up with chicks or like, you know what I mean?
Same,
To where like literally I'm just trying to work these jokes, see if they're fucking funny, and then get on some shows. And if we get to hang out with some funny people, that's dope. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, if somebody doesn't like me, I could literally care less.
I want to replace my salary. I got a nice salary, it's not, I'm not rich or anything. That's it. All I want to do is just replace my salary telling jokes and hanging out with fucking comics. Instead of having to fucking wake up early and shit, and like I do not want to do that. That's it. But there's some people, man, who don't give a fuck about any of that shit, and you're also still doing comedy with. They're still technically your colleagues, Where it's like fuck,
kind of.
Bro, that happens so much where like somebody is like, "What do you think about that?" And I'm like, I don't want to say anything because I know it's gonna hurt my chances here or. But.
Well, I mean, it's like I don't know. I think your colleagues are the people getting paid for shows, so it's like. If it's open mic, anybody can fucking do it. That's just, acquaintances still, So it's like.
Do you, I don't know, I've been seeing some, like, comics that I think you want another one. Yeah. I've been seeing some comics who are, like, hilarious, I think they're so funny, and they're still doing, like, they're headliners.
Yeah.
And they're still doing, like, bar shows. And
I think you have to hear.
But my point is, like, it makes me feel so bad, like, like, even some of the headliners that laughs, like some fucking big dudes who are coming through. Like I literally look at their Instagram later, who are on like SNL or like they write for whatever this show, and they're still doing like shitty bar shows, and I'm like, fuck.
But I bet you that's. I mean, here's the thing: if it's a shitty bar show where at least there's people there, I mean, that's got to be at least okay to work on your shit. You know?
Yeah.
I think you always have to do it if you're really gonna be working on your shit forever.
I will say bars do help you get to like the rest of America. Joe's Bar, man, rest in peace. You ever do Joe's Bar and Grill? Nikki used to run it. You know Nikki Nicole.
In Seattle.
Yeah, it was it was this like fucking dive bar off the fucking. It was an international district, right off the light rail. So it was like a shit show for sure. Like literally, I used to do a joke there of like, people didn't come here to listen to jokes. They came here to like nod off fentanyl. Like you're the asshole there, you know, like keeping them from like
fucking to pass out.
Yeah, exactly.
Their own dicks,
exactly. And now you're just like, it does look like they're trying to suck their own dick.
They do every time.
Every time. But yeah, no, those are the places where you're like, if I can make the fucking guy shooting up heroin laugh, this shit's funny.
Yeah, well, we're lucky here because like we're one of the only places that pay all the gigs pay. Like that's not like that anywhere else. So it's like if you're here, like some of these guys can make decent money doing local shows. Like if they do a couple shows a week, and they're selling their merch and shit like that, they can make a part-time living, salary off of it. Like if you're.
Are you trying to get some merch yet?
I don't have any yet. No, I don't care to yet. But
yeah, same. I don't have enough weekend spots to get merch. That's what I think. You get merch when you do enough weekend spots. Like if you're on every weekend, you get some merch.
I mean, you can. I mean, I've seen people sell decent amount of. I mean, you make $100, so you sell fucking 5 shirts at a brewery that got 75 people in it. I mean, I've seen guys do all right. Some people pull out fucking stickers and sell $5 stickers, and they'll make like
but then they gotta fucking stickers might be a good move because I was gonna say that if not, they have to fucking roll around with that stupid backpack.
Oh, that is cringy, and that is the thing.
Luggage
I hate cringy shit, and it's really hard for me to do anything cringy.
Yeah, same.
Even the idea of like I've never really recorded my sets. Because the idea, it sounds so dumb, but the idea of while people are watching me, setting up a tripod.
Dude, I'm the same way. See,
like
that's why I fuck with you.
Self-important prick
to
record my shit. Like people want to see it. That cringes me out so
Dude,
hard.
I'm the same way, man. I'm the same way. I cannot do that shit. I'll tell people like, if you want to record my shit, great.
Oh,
or if I can buy it later, awesome. But I'm not gonna go there and set that shit up
literally
like a jackass.
All my footage is other comics with nice setups recording my shit because I just. It kills me inside the idea of like tripod because I'm important. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I need to get over it. And I'm trying to get over it. I'm probably gonna because I have a fucking Android too, which like records like dog shit. So I'm probably gonna. Me and my wife are gonna go get iPhones upgrades. I think.
Get iPhones, man. It's all about being a part of that club.
I don't want to. I've never used one. I try to use my wife's and I feel like a fucking alien.
Really? I feel like that's one of the things that I like about them is that they seem very user friendly. It's very simple.
I just never have. So it's like
also, yeah, you're used to the Android for so long.
But they film so nice, so it's like.
No, man, I'm with you. I do not like having to walk around with your fucking stupid ass tripod.
Yeah.
Having to not have my phone. To me, my phone is my fucking. It's my crutch too.
Yeah.
Like even though I don't look at my set list sometimes I'll go up there, won't even look at my phone, but it will help me remember knowing that I have it there.
Yeah.
In case I fuck up, I can pull it out and I can just look at it.
I've been trying to just keep my notebook in my pocket and then just waiting for me to actually forget before I pull it out to see how far I can go. And it's not switching the lineup of my jokes is helping. Like I can list them out in my head now already. Whereas before, every time I did a show, I was like doing different jokes based on like trying to read the room and then switching up all the fucking. Then you can't remember the order. So now I'm kind of lumping them together by category a little bit.
Dude, Blake Kiltov, shout out Blake Kiltov. He showed me how to use ChatGPT for that shit.
I was just talking to him about this too.
Dude, was it to Blake about it?
Yeah.
He was saying how like if you put all your set list on it and be like organized by by topic or theme. Then now you have a nice through line through your shit.
It's a specific app though, right?
Oh, I was using. No, I did it through Chat GPT browser or whatever. I think they have an app for it too.
Bing. Is it the Bing version or is it like
I think it's the same shit. I'm using an actual website.
Yeah.
It's literally like chat.gpt.
It's crazy, man. I've gotten it. I literally have made it write some really fucking funny shit. You have to finesse the fuck. It's not funny. You have to finesse the shit out of it. But I found if you tell it to, it's really good at writing episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, really?
Dude, it is.
Was I talking to you about this?
Maybe I did tell you about this. Yeah. Dude, it's phenomenal at it. If you give it a joke, I did just take any premise and then tell it to write a short script in Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think I have talked to you about this. Yeah, where Larry and Jeff argue about whatever your premise is. It'll come up with like it'll inspire you to write funny shit.
I've been using that shit at work. People will be like, oh, we need to write this policy on, fucking how do you throw away compost, and I'll be like, write a policy using Washington administrative code.
Yeah.
And I'll like copy and paste it in, and then brah, and then I like change it a couple of things here and there. I turn it in, and I'm like, yo, you edit it. Let me know what you guys think. This is incredible. How long did it take you to write this? I'm like, well, a long time, but it doesn't matter because
I can use some extra money actually.
Yeah, I don't sleep at night, so. But dude, that shit is fucking.
You can automate your jobs. Dude, a lot of people have like automated 3 different jobs and making an insane amount of money.
My point is like, don't make it obvious that you're like. Once they figure that out that you're doing that, then you're gone.
I think
I'm gonna replace you.
Yeah, I think if you're using it as a tool that you're then improving on, even if you're looking for joke ideas, like as long as you don't have this thing writing your joke. Like, if you're using it for inspiration, it's just the same as riffing. You're riffing with a fucking AI instead of a human. As long as you're still making something your own at the end, like...
Of course, but even then, I feel like it would never be able to riff. It would never be able to observe, like... You can make it riff?
Dude, I've gotten into... Yes,
yeah.
I've punched in a joke and been like, read this joke and tell me if there's anything you could add to it. And it's, like, gone, well, you could say this, and I was like, fuck.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'll be honest, I don't know if you've heard me tell this. So the joke about eating... I'm so lazy that I ate grapes... when I was thirsty, and I'm here being so lazy, fucking ate something to drink. Stupid premise, but it's like,
sure.
and
it's simple. I like it.
And its suggestion was that you could say that you don't even chew the grapes, you just swallow them like pills. And I was like, that's fucking funny. So like I've used it and it crushes. So it's like it's stupid. Yeah, I changed it. So I go, I don't even chew the grapes. I swallow them like little fucking juice pills. Like, but it's fucking. That was its basic suggestion.
But you figured out how to finesse that. That's hard. That's the task at hand when it comes to ChatGPT. You know?
I don't feel good about it. I'm like,
honestly, man, I say don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's an interesting. It's like if you're gonna be inspired by it, that's one thing. But also you don't know where it's getting it from. So if you ask for suggestion, it might suggest somebody else's joke to you because it's just taking, it's just Googling fucking shit.
It's just compiling a bunch of shit.
And then like, you should tell this, you should say this, and then it's like some other
that's a good point.
You do have to kind of...
To me, it's like, it doesn't observe the same things that I observe. Like, it observes things online. It's like, you ever watch the Avengers movie?
Yeah.
You ever watch like the Ultron one where it like went online and figured out we were pieces of shit, so that I'm going to destroy you?
Yeah.
But it's like, bro, you're missing the point. Like, there's flowers you can never smell. There's like these like very simple things that you as a computer can never understand, which then you could write a joke about because like you guys ever smell a flower and fucking get stung by a bee or whatever, and like a computer will never have that experience because it never fucking smells fucking whatever.
I'm making my son watch. He's 5, and I'm making him watch Terminator 2. It's like a little too old for him, but dude, he's like into it.
He's 5.
Yeah,
make him watch Simpsons.
Do we? I don't know. I put on Simpsons. I don't think they're giving a fuck. I made them watch Avatar.
No, not new Simpsons. Make them watch from season 3.
Season 5.
I say 3 to 9.
Yeah, my best friend literally a Simpsons fucking freak.
Dude, that's where I think most of my comedy comes from.
Yeah,
my humor. Honestly, like my humor comes like from that. Like Conan O'Brien, Dana Gold, which I didn't realize.
Conan's a big one for me.
Yeah, like I didn't realize how like much of it was because they wrote for The Simpsons. And like seriously, like I find him so funny. Same like I was at Club Comedy, and he has a poster of Dana Gold in the fucking Gold or whatever in the fucking bathroom. And I used to love Dana Gold. He was so funny to me. And then I realized I read on the thing. He said, "Yeah, when he used to be a writer and producer for The Simpsons." And I was like, "Oh, no fucking wonder I like this dude."
That was big for me. Conan was huge for me. Me and my cousin, or me and my best friend, we would sneak into his garage at night when his parents would go to bed, and we'd watch Conan on their garage TV.
Dude, he was fucking hilarious.
Here every night we'd watch Conan.
I used to love all his fucking. I watch his podcast all the time. I used to love all his his remotes.
Yeah,
those shit are so fucking hilarious. He's just a fucking idiot. He's a silly goofball guy who like has a direct line to like my heart. Like this shit.
We were watching him like mid to late '90s, so it was like him and Andy Richter the whole time.
Oh, dude, Andy Richter's fucking hilarious too. Boom. All right, brother. I gotta wrap it up now. The show is fun, man.
Yeah,
you trying to go to Club Comedy?
Yeah, I gotta message my wife. She don't care.
Yeah, man, fucking. That's what my fiance says all the time. Just message me. I don't care if you're out late. Just tell me.
I usually bring her back a couple Dick's cheeseburgers.
There you go.
A couple fries.
I always
that way I come in. I'm like, "What am I waiting for you?" So I still seem like
that's a good move. I always bring back like some chicken strips and fries or something. Or it's like, here you go. Only because I ate some too and I didn't want it. Dude, I've been doing that a lot with it. We're trying to lose weight. It's not been going well. No. Not at all.
Dude, here's what I'm doing. I don't eat at work. So
that's hard for me. That's when I have to eat the most.
That's the only. But if you just
and you work at Costco, man, how do you not do that?
I have to, because so if I get to work at 4 a.m. and I ate dinner at 6, I just drink so much coffee that I keep my stomach full. So I'm amped, and then I am hungry, But then when I get home, I eat, but it's giving me like 15, 16 hours of no eating, and I was losing like literally half a pound a day almost, like 0.4 pounds.
I've been on that train.
15 pounds in 3 weeks off.
I've been on that. Literally today, I was doing that. I was like, I'm not gonna eat all day, and then I'm in a new office right now, and it's right next to a Mod Pizza, and literally, it's literally like next door.
I'm Costco. We got pizza right there,
bro. I was asking about this Costco bit that I wrote. I think it's funny. People love this joke, but I think it's hack now. It's about like Costco is so huge in Washington. They have a Kirkland brand city.
Yeah. Kirkland brand city?
Yeah. Because Kirkland, you ever heard, that's what it, right?
Yeah.
And like, regardless of it, like, is that hack? Is that like, do you think people from like that know Costco?
I'm way too into Costco. So it's like, everybody at work goes, do you tell a lot of Costco jokes? I bet you could do a whole hour just on Costco. And I go, I would never.
Yeah.
But it's not because it's necessarily hack. I hate. It's a good job, but it's like it's so profoundly boring that I borderline hate it now. So it's like the idea of like leaving a job that I don't like anymore and then going and telling jokes about that same job is like fuck. I didn't want to talk about it. Yeah. But no, I mean I've literally been at Mike's before where there was like 5 Costco jokes and I was like, God, it is like your take does have to be original because Costco is so world popular now. But where I've just riffed, where I'm like, fuck it, I guess everybody's telling Costco jokes, and then I just started riffing stupid shit. And
I literally talked about this yesterday, and it was making me feel kind of bad because I was like, fuck, I wonder if people from, and I think it only applies to people in Washington that know about Kirkland.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I wonder if people from Kirkland or from Washington have heard that joke 1,000 times. And I'm just a fucking visitor who has no idea.
Yeah, I work in Woodinville. I don't work in Kirkland, so I have no fucking idea.
All right, well, I just won't tell it in Kirkland.
The only one that makes me laugh, like, on a daily is, like, we demo shit that everybody's had a million times. There'll be a clogged aisle that you can't get around, and you're like, what are they demoing? And it's like an Oreo cookie. I'm like, get the fuck out of my way. Like, get out of my way. You had an Oreo, you fat piece of shit. Like,
that's why I love Costco.
They'll butter white toast and demo it, and then people are lining up, and I'm like, you've had toast.
Yeah, but that shit's delicious from Costco.
Yeah.
No, I feel like what's another one that I thought about recently that it's very like, is that hack? About Tacoma. I'm like, I love Tacoma. I came here because I thought it would be like, home, and there would be a lot of Mexicans, because it sounds like what I used to tell my mom I wanted for dinner, and she's like, what do you want to eat? And I'd be like, I want a taco, ma. And I was like, and people love that joke, but then I was like, wait, the people from Tacoma, they probably hear that all the time.
I don't think so.
And I literally do that with like every fucking city. I did a show in Yakima once. I did the same thing of like, do you want this? No, that's kind of yucky, ma. I don't want that.
You like it?
And they loved it.
No, I don't think it's hack at all. I think that's not even popped in my head. It wouldn't even pop in my head. Yeah, I don't know. No, I think it's probably fine. I
honestly think about that. Like, if I thought of it, somebody who lives in Tacoma must have thought about this.
No, I don't think so. I think have you told the Tacoma?
I always do that in Tacoma.
I've done it anywhere else. Maybe I've seen you at TC do it. I haven't heard you tell it.
I've definitely done it in Tacoma. Yeah.
No, that's funny. I think it's funny.
And like I said, nobody in Tacoma has come up to me and been like, "Hey, I've heard that lots of times." But I think about it because I'm like, there's no way that somebody from Tacoma hasn't thought about. There's literally the word taco and ma in Tacoma.
I don't think so.
And like nobody saw that, and then that's another thing too that kind of throws me out sometimes. I'm like,
I can't be. Well, here's the thing: just because somebody may have put the taco and ma part together, the fact that you're bringing it, that like, I thought there was gonna be hella Mexicans in Tacoma. That's silly right off the bat. You know what I mean? And then throwing the title, so it is the whole thing isn't hack. I don't think.
Yeah, I even thought too. Like, I'm sure there's a taco truck that's like some old Mexican lady. She's like a mother who's like, I'm just a taco ma. Just parked outside.
If there isn't, there should be.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, how did I think of that?
Yeah, how do I I'm not get a taco truck? Only work it in Tacoma.
You call it a taco ma.
It smells like shit. It smells like getting pissed.
Okay, Tacoma reminds me a lot of LA.
I don't know shit about Tacoma because I only go to Tacoma Comedy Club and then I leave. So I don't.
Dude, I haven't done TCC in a long.
I keep forgetting to sign up, so I like leapfrog it. I'll do 1 or 2 spots in a month, and then I'll forget the next one.
Same. I haven't done Tacoma.
Their new spots go.
I haven't done Nate. Yeah, I haven't done the new place there. I haven't done Nate's.
I had to bail on a Nate show, and so I'm hoping they don't hold
me.
They
do. I said I had COVID, which is a lie.
I did, and I just booked I had a paid thing, and I forgot, and I double booked it. So I told them 2 days before. They didn't respond.
I told them the day before, I think. They responded. They were like, sorry, you have COVID. But then I've been trying to get on. Or that's not true. I tried like once to get on. I was like, can I get another 10 minutes?
I gotta go show up one time and hang out. It'd be nice. I don't know.
That'd be great.
It's just so hard. It's such a long drive for me. It's
what's your face run? She'll hook you up.
Hour 40 minutes for me to drive.
That's how I feel about even from Seattle.
I like that spot though. I want to sign up for they're doing their comedy competition. You should do it.
I applied.
Funniest motherfucker. Yeah, I haven't applied.
$10. Yeah, I applied to that. I applied to Sick. Did you apply to Sick?
I didn't this year because I did it last year and my I think I'm just as funny right now as I was last year, but I think having my set list on the stool and all that shit.
I think it's fine, man. Who gives a shit?
I think it gets up against me a little bit. So it's like I'd rather just like work this year on like getting rid of my set list and just being
I don't know. I disagree. I don't think people care if your shit's funny regardless. Like even if you're reading a thing, I'm not sure if it was you who was telling me yesterday, but like legit fucking comedians who are like writers for sitcoms literally were come out with like a notebook. And they're just
I saw
like,
Mark Maron do the fucking Paramount or some big ass theater,
and they're just out there.
And
it's like cool because I have a show I need to worry about. I don't give a fuck about your theater here.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't think it matters.
I don't know. I hear about it.
They do use it.
I crushed my fucking audition last year. Smashed.
So yeah.
And didn't get it. So that's fine. I don't hold it. It's like whatever. I don't care. It's like I sign up for competitions for like networking purposes.
That's why
I think for fun. It's networking, whatever.
Also, it's a good credit to have if you do win.
If you win, yeah.
That's a good credit.
I like to keep my expectations low with everything. Like just like you were saying earlier, how like you just want to replace your income. Yeah. That's how I look. I just want to be a professional working comedian.
Same.
And if anything goes beyond that, that is icing on the cake.
That's why I don't do fucking shows that are like somebody invited me to do a show. They're gonna pay me too in Utah. It was like South Utah, so like at the border of like Arizona or whatever. So it was fucking far.
Yeah.
They weren't gonna fly me out. They were gonna put me up.
They weren't gonna fly you out.
They weren't gonna fly me out, but they were gonna put me up in a hotel, and they were gonna give me I think it was like $250.
You didn't do it?
I didn't do it because it was gonna be like an 18-hour drive.
Don't drive. You should have taken that $250 and bought a plane ticket. And just
no, there was. I looked at plane tickets. Plane tickets were like round trip were like $600.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, so I would have lost money going there.
See, I'm like, doing any type of road gig is such like it's like LARPing. You know what I mean? Because I'm not there yet, but it's like, so if somebody wants to pay me to drive 4 hours and they're gonna give me like I'm doing tomorrow night I'm going to Pasco, which is like 4.5 hours away.
You're doing Ying's thing?
Yeah. And it's like I'm just doing it because it's like fun. It's like me role playing the road. Where I'm just like driving and then get a hotel room and then going home for $100.
That's cool if you got somebody to go with. Like if you
I'm cruising alone. I was with my wife, but
if you got a buddy to go with, especially like somebody who's booked on there, it's a comedian that you fucking can riff with. That's dope.
Yeah.
Because some of those shits fucking, especially like I like to drink. I guess I wouldn't drink too Pasco.
Yeah.
But
that's pretty far.
But I don't know about on the way back. You know, like that's the shit that kind of. Same with Tacoma. I don't go to Tacoma because I'm like I like to have a couple of cocktails and I'm not trying to get on the road.
The last time that I used to like drink and drive, this sounds shitty, but it was like when Four Locos were a thing. We'd go up to go to a Mariners game, and we'd fill a Slurpee up halfway, pour a Four Loco, and just like get pretty drunk off of one Four Loco and a Slurpee on the way to the Mariners game.
And you mob the Mariners game. Yeah, no, for sure. No, that's why I don't do Tacoma. That's why I don't do any of those other shows. Because I'm like, I can't. Like,
I'm too in my head to drink before leaving. I need to be able to think in the car and shit. So
I just know that I will try to drive home. I'm not going to be like, I'm taking the bus, I'm taking the Uber.
Dude, I'll crash. I slept in my car. Sometimes I'll drive to my work and just be too tired. Like I'm passing out on the street, so I just pull over in Woodinville and I just crash and then wake up and go to work.
Dude, one time I
messaged my wife about it.
One time the move used to be when I used to date, I used to do the whole apps and shit. I would hit people up in that neighborhood and I'd be like, hey, what are you doing right now? And they'd be like, oh, I'm just at home, want to come over? Like, yes, thank God. And then you show up and you're fucking hammered and like, all right, I gotta make sure I fucking stay hard just to have sex with you so I can sleep here. Yeah.
Dude, I just saw a thing on fucking Instagram of this guy who was homeless and he slept somewhere every night because of Tinder and shit.
Yeah, man. I honestly like.
Just fuck every night for a place to stay.
If you could do that shit and like Tinder's all the dating apps, it's a numbers game. I was telling a coworker of mine
hit up 100
recently, and he was like, "Man, I've been struggling. You know, I talked to like 6 girls this week." I'm like, 6 girls?
Yeah, I'm like, ChatGPT.
But seriously though, have ChatGPT be like, come up with a fucking
be romantic.
Line, copy and paste times 1,000.
Being funny helps.
Yeah.
So
dude.
If your friend's not funny, you have a way bigger.
He's not funny.
Because it was last time I was single was before the apps, but it was when dating websites were thing. So I was doing like eHarmony and Match.com, and I could cut the line with funny shit.
Yep.
So I would cut the line. The girl would message me back. That's so fucking funny.
Yeah. If you put comedian on your profile,
it's way before.
But even then, if you can put that, that's another thing too. Like, tell me a joke, and you're like, fuck you or whatever. And then
fuck you.
And now they're more like, no, come on. Yeah. How about let's go on a date and maybe.
Yeah.
And then like, all right,
just come watch me. Yeah.
So I used to go. So I met my fiance. I used to do so. Jai Thai used to be the move. I would invite dates to Jai Thai, or not to Jai Thai, to Nacho Baracho.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, come meet me at Nacho, or some like place around Jai Thai.
Oh, I also do.
Yeah, and I'm like, I gotta go do a set real quick, and they're like, what? And then I'll go do 5 minutes or 3 minutes, and I'll come back. And I was like, yeah, I fucking killed, no big deal, and then like continue the date. And sometimes I would invite them to Jai Thai, and a couple of times, like I knew if I would like get laid based on like if they fucking laughed at my set.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and like literally, I saw one time this girl, she was laughing so hard in the front, and I was like, I lost respect for her. Actually,
oh really?
I was like, she was hot, but I was like, I don't even want to have sex with you no more.
That hat costume.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that shit was lame. I was like, come on. And the other time, there's been like girls who are like that, like I had a girl leave in the middle of my set as I'm like talking about her. I'm like, yeah, I'm on a Tinder date tonight, and they're like walking away.
What the fuck?
And I'm like, oh, there she goes, bye.
Yeah.
So they used to be the move, man. Fucking inviting them to Jai Thai.
Dude, I went on like a few dates, and they were all terrible. Every girl I went on a date with, just broke up with a boyfriend. All of them. Yeah. And then so like the second.
Which is why they're doing the apps.
Exactly. And the second date that you'd be like, so what's up? Like when how long you been single? And they'd be like, oh, I just broke up like 10 days ago. And I'm like, bitch, you still have a boyfriend? Like I'm not getting murdered for you. Like I literally 3 different times I was like, nah, no thanks. I'm not trying to get killed. You know what I mean?
Especially if they got kids. That's I hooked up with this chick once. She was in Puyallup. She was hot, and I was like, "You have a son?" And she's like, "Yeah, but he's at his dad's house today." And literally, when I went over, and we were hanging out having a good time, and then her kid calls her, and she's like, "No, you can't come home. No, it's okay. I'll pick you up tomorrow."
No, sorry.
Yeah. And literally, she was like, "Whatever it is, like I can't come tonight. I'll come pick you up tomorrow." And then he calls. And he was like, "Why the fuck can you can't pick him up right now? Who do you have over there?" And I can like hear him shouting over the phone. And I was like, "Fuck!" And I was like, "Well," I was like, and then I think he lived like 35 minutes away, so that was my barometer. of like, I got 35 minutes to get out of here in case he decides to come over here and murder me, because you want to be a hoe for a weekend.
I'm too optimistic and happy-go-lucky to where like if I bang a chick, she's gonna accidentally become my girlfriend. So, like, so when I was single, I was like, I came out of the thing where I was with a girl for 3 years. It was an accident. It was like a one-night stand, and then all of a sudden we were engaged.
You're too nice to see now.
So I was like going on these dates, and I was like, they would want to bang or something, or they'd be throwing that out there. And at the end of the night, I'd be like, I can't bang this chick. I can't have this girl as my wife or whatever. So I was pretty.
13 years later.
Yeah. I was shooting. I had shot a couple of girls down, which seemed insane. I told my friend this. My friend was like, I had the worst date ever. This girl was the dumbest person I ever met in my life. She said the wildest shit on the date, and then I almost bailed on her. I almost like left her at the restaurant, like just ditched out.
Sometimes they deserve that.
Dude, it was wild. And then I told my friend about it. My friend was like, "You didn't fuck her?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "No."
I would have added, like,
I would have had the dumbest girlfriend of all time after that. She would have been my girlfriend, and you would have been making fun of me for having a dumb girlfriend or something.
Yeah, but I would at least fucked her, man.
Should at least fucked her. I was like, God damn, dude.
But all right, brother. Gotta end this shit. Thanks for coming on, man. Let's have you on again. Let me know whenever you're free. We can do this shit. I kind of want to start taking some of this equipment just like with me to like mics and shit. All right, well,
yeah, dude. Let me. When I get home, I'll send you a picture of that shit I'm not using, and bare minimum, you can at least fucking borrow it if you want to fuck with it.